All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us for another Sponsor Insider webinar for SaaStr. We're excited to be here and talk to you this month. We're going to be doing these every third Tuesday of the month. So your next one is going to be April 20th. But this month, we are going to be talking about SaaStr Enterprise, which is coming up in May. I am here with Amelia Barra, who's our SVP and GM of SaaStr, and I am Caitlin Palatucci, who's dealing with you guys for sponsor success. Without further ado, I will pass it over to Amelia to kick us off.
Thanks, Caitlin. So yeah, as she said, we really wanted to take some time today to focus on our next digital mega event, which is SaaStr Enterprise. So we've had a full schedule of digital events already in 2021. We just wrapped SaaStr Build last week. And then in January, we had like an informal SaaStr University Spring Semester Day. And here is our schedule for the remainder of 2021. We're super excited that Enterprise is our next event. We had a very successful Enterprise 2020 last year in a digital format. We're bringing it back again this year, May 26th and 27th. Two-day events. We'll obviously be sharing all the details today. Feel free to pop any questions you might have about Enterprise or any of our upcoming events into the Q&A. Or if you have any deep dive questions, we're also happy to do individual follow-ups with folks. So yeah, SaaStr Enterprise is our next event, and then looking just at a glance at the rest of the year, we've got SaaStr Money after that in beginning of Q3. That one's really going to be focused on finance, fintech, and funding. So a lot of great stuff there. SaaStr Annual will be back this year, the 27th through the 29th. This will be a hybrid event, both digital and in person where allowed. We'll get more to that in our next sponsor webinar, because today we want to focus on Enterprise. And then we'll close out the year with SaaStr Scale. We just had this last December, and we had it in person the year before. This is a really cool Playbooks 2 event that we always end the year on. So just our events in 2021 at a glance. All right, so let's dig into SaaStr Enterprise. This is our flagship CXO event. You guys might have remembered, if you're a current or previous sponsor with us, we had originally envisioned the CXO event to be an event within an event at SaaStr Annual 2020. Obviously, due to COVID, we had to pivot it to being in a digital format. So we renamed it SaaStr Enterprise. We had it in a digital landscape last year in July. We're doing it this year a bit earlier, just with timing of Q2 to be in May. So this will be May 26th and 27th. We'll have 250 plus of the top CIOs, CDOs, and CXOs in the cloud joining us, as well as 1,000 or more, like we did last year, of the top SaaS and B2B CEOs. So the SaaStr Enterprise event is really our flagship event that is geared towards bringing together the next generation of cloud CEOs with the top buyers, if you will, of enterprise software. So these are the CIOs, the COOs, the CTOs, CXOs, right, who are providing their trends. We've got some of the top speakers coming in and from the cloud as well. So Enterprise is really interesting and different from our other events because we structure it a bit differently. So I'll get into that here. So basically, you could think of SaaStr Enterprise as having two experiences. The first is, the content. So obviously SaaStr is known for its really great content. I was literally just on with our speaker team, chatting with them about speakers and content for SaaStr Enterprise. We've got some of the top leaders who are driving innovation in the cloud who are going to be coming and presenting. We've got really great leaders lined up already. So this will be sort of our core content, which will be open for everyone. So what that means for you as a sponsor, right, is you can think about one part of SaaStr Enterprise as being the content, which is open to everyone. It'll be about the latest trends in clouds, everything from like communication to DevOps, security, partnerships, what's going on in the cloud, productivity, technology, all of that, right? So content is really one piece of it. It's open to everyone. And we really do this and having the content open so that as a sponsor, when you present a hyper workshop, we can get you as many raised hands and leads as possible. So that's one portion of it. The other portion of it is the exclusive curated meetings we have with those top CIOs and the top CEOs in SaaS. So this is more closed off, and this is exclusive to that group. And as a sponsor, there's a way to interact with both parties. But the most important thing to know is that there's one track of content that's open for anyone, so anyone can drop in and watch this content. That means you get more leads as a sponsor. And then we have these exclusive curated meetings right between the CIOs and the CXOs. So that is a bit more closed off so that we can keep it very high quality networking, very curated, very invite only. We literally make sure that every attendee has been vetted by the SaaStr team. So that's basically how SaaStr Enterprise is structured. It's a bit different from our other events. If you guys have participated or are looking to participate in a event in 2021, our past digital events, both the content and the networking is typically open to everyone. Enterprise, again, is a little bit different, where the content's open to everyone and the networking is exclusive for this subset of folks, so that we can keep the meetings as high quality as possible. Okay. Like I said, we did have SaaStr Enterprise in a digital format last year. So this is a look at our enterprise event audience specifically. We do have another one that Caitlin can send separately for the rest of our digital events at a glance, but this is just specifically for enterprise, since obviously it is a little bit of a different audience than our core audience, not too far off, but there's bigger companies who attend here, right? So I think the biggest thing to note from here is obviously, company size. You've got the breakdown here. This is larger than normal other SaaStr digital events. Who attends, right? We've pulled a mix of some of the top attendees, again, from last year's event, and put them here because, again, we just picked a different mix that was more enterprise focused than our other digital events, as well as some, top logos for brand exposure. So last year at SaaStr Enterprise, we had about 8,000 people attend the content only, and we had about 1,200 people attend the invite only networking between the CEOs and then the CXOs. And then we also had a lot of people tune in via the live stream. So that's just another way that people can watch, again, the content only. So it's great exposure all around in terms of, like, you'll get leads from your session because the content's open for everyone. You'll get super targeted meetings via the double opt-in meetings that we do, which we'll share more about how that works. And then you'll get obviously really good brand exposure via the live stream. So it's really a great event to sort of hit all three pillars of leads, high quality meetings, and brand exposure. We really like it. A lot of sponsors have shown a lot of interest in enterprise already or have already signed up. And we do have limited slots, which is why we wanted to take this time to explain how enterprise works, so that you guys could decide which event is the best fit for you. These are a look at some of the speakers we had last year, just to give you guys a flair of who has spoken, the type of content we look for. We can, in our follow-ups, we'll link out to you guys some of the best sessions from SaaStr Enterprise last year, so you can get a sense of the type of content that performs well for this audience at SaaStr. Just some testimonials from some of those folks who you saw were speakers, and what they like about SaaStr, which I think is always nice to see. And then we just wanted to go through the bulk of this, which is sponsorships, right? So what does this mean if you want to get involved with SaaStr Enterprise? The first thing I would say as a reminder, which is what we tell all folks who are looking at engaging at SaaStr Enterprise, is like, you should be enterprise ready if you're going to partner with us at this event. If you're still moving up market, it might not be the best fit for you, especially since once we explain the double opt-in meetings, there's a way that you need to have your C-suite available to take meetings. Obviously, those sort of buyers that you'll have the meetings with have a specific set of questions. There's different implications once you're selling at the enterprise. So we do recommend that you already have a few enterprise clients before coming in to sponsor this event. obviously we have a lot of digital events with a lot of themes. So if you're not quite at that level yet, probably would say another digital event would be a better fit for you. But if you are at that level and obviously want to take advantage of some of the things I mentioned earlier, then SaaStr Enterprise is a great event to do so. So I'm going to start actually with our most popular sponsorship, both at Enterprise and all of our digital events. It's the Super Gold. It's a little bit different at SaaStr Enterprise. So if you guys are familiar with our Super Golds at other digital events, this is basically a 20-minute workshop, including Q&A. So a workshop will be a piece of content that our SaaStr speaker team and your speaker team or your content team works with you on to really craft together a piece of content that fits not only to the overall agenda of the event, but something that will resonate with our audience and is more of like a thought leadership or a playbook or a how-to. So that's the core way that you'll get leads, right? So we'll basically work with you on a piece of content. You will get the leads from that session post-event. So again, this is why we have content open to everyone to drive up those leads. And we also live stream it. As I mentioned, our live stream has been super popular. So one thing we do in addition to having our core attendees watch in our website platform is we live stream it out onto our very popular social media accounts. And we've had our videos get 10,000 or more views for sponsors. So that's cool brand awareness. And then at the Super Gold level, you do get access to our curated double opt-in meetings at SaaStr Enterprise, which I will explain next how that all works. And then you'll also get, some of the additional branding that we have in our normal digital event packages, which is, branding on our homepage, again, lead capture of the content. So you will get those leads of people who sign up for your session. We do a number of promotions pre, during, and post event with the videos and content. And then obviously, your logo will go on our website and all of our marketing materials for this event as well. So that's our main sponsorship. The bronze is a little slightly different. It's more of an entry level to enterprise. The content is a bit different in the sense that instead of a workshop, it's a roundtable session. So it's structured a bit differently. It's more of 10 minutes of content and slides and 10 minutes of interactivity and Q&A. Some people have split this up a bit differently, but this is more interactive than the hyper workshop. The hyper workshop is more of a presentation, usually with Q&A following. The roundtable is less of emphasis on presentation, more of like facilitating conversations with folks. So that is the main difference there. The bronze also does not have access to the double opt-in networking. So that's just something to keep in mind there of the main differences. So if meetings are something super important for you, you'll definitely want to come in at least at the Super Gold level or above. If you want to come in for content and leads and have more of an interactive session, that's typically we see our roundtables be a bit more niche-y in terms of content topics, then you'll want to consider the bronze sponsorship. We've laid out some of the difference here just at a glance. A few of the things I did not touch on were the Super Gold Plus. So this is something that actually is only for existing sponsors. That is where we will do a formal write-up of your content session after the event. So it gets additional post-event push. We'll do a formal write-up and call it from the CXO's desk, where we basically write up the key takeaways from your session. We publish the video, we clean it up, and have that as an asset there. So that's the Super Gold Plus, but again, only open to existing sponsors. And then Platinum, which is like really the highest level, which we already have one. So not to say that there couldn't be another, but very, very specific on partnerships. And something we typically have a bit more of a lead time to do with folks. So really the main ways are either Super Gold or bronze. Hyper workshops. So again, this is for Super Gold is something we do is we put your content into the agenda. This is the way we drive engagement and signups for your session. This is how we get the most leads and eyeballs to your session. So it's really important if you are a Super Gold sponsor to to ensure that you work with our content team to make sure you meet all the guidelines and deadlines, so that once we do launch session registration to attendees, we can make sure that your content is included in the launch. That always works really well to get people a big push of initial leads. So just something to keep in mind there. Live streaming, we just dropped a few screenshots here. If you guys are unfamiliar with some of the way we've been doing our live streaming in the past, we've got some screenshots here of what that looks like across our social media accounts. Jason, our CEO, is very popular on Twitter, and we've got SaaStr's accounts. So we do live stream all the content during our events across our various social media handles. And like I said, they usually get a really good boost there. Just from brand awareness perspective, unfortunately, there's not a way to capture those 20,000 or 10,000 or so names, but obviously it's always a great thing to have in terms of brand awareness, PR, just something you could show off to folks, and your CEO as well after the fact, post-event, for some immediate ROI there. We've put together some examples here of the kind of volume you can expect in terms of like leads. So the lead count is on the right of how many hand raisers and opt-ins these folks got, and then views is on the right for how many live stream views they got. And then the main thing we wanted to go over was the double opt-in meetings. So how this works, because I know this is, again, something different from our normal content, which again is out there and pretty easy to find an explanation for on SaaStr.com. So double opt-in meetings is where we have this sort of separate audience of 500 or so CXOs, 1,000 CEOs who are invited, again, just a subset of this audience, to the exclusive networking portion within SaaStr Enterprise. Basically, what we do internally with this audience is work very closely with both. So this particular subset of attendees, as well as our enterprise sponsors, to understand who you want to meet, who they're trying to meet, what their buying patterns are, what they're looking for, to really create sort of a profile pre-event. And then what we do pre-event, really at about a month before, is send both the sponsors and the attendees a list of each other. So as a sponsor, what that means for you is you would get a list of like titles and company names, like on or around May 1st, of here's who is attending SaaStr Enterprise. You would tell us who you want to meet with. We would go to those folks to facilitate a double opt-in. So that's really what we mean by double opt-in, is you want to say you want to meet folks and they want to meet you. So once a meeting match is made, we really help facilitate an introduction between the two parties and help you facilitate a meeting time. Typically it's during the event. Some people have them based on last year post-event, but obviously that's a better engagement rate if you do try and do it during the event. So based on how we did meetings last year and that success, we do honestly require having a member of your C-suite or your leadership team available to take these meetings. Again, just because this subset audience of CXOs and CEOs really want to meet with other C-suite founders, leadership members, not really like a VP of product per se. So that's why we encourage that, because it will drive up the amount of meetings that you could potentially have at SaaStr Enterprise. And our team will really work with you, again, to facilitate as many meetings as possible. One thing you'll notice about our Super Gold sponsorships is we don't guarantee a certain amount of meetings. On average, last year, folks had about 5 of these high quality double opt-in meetings, but some had more and some had less. So that's just an average. It really depends on your C-suite's availability and your leadership team's availability to take these meetings. Some of it has to do with responsiveness of, making sure you get us your list of attendees you want to go out to. It might take more than one round, just depending on how many hand raisers and matches there are. So that's something we'll work with you really closely with, but obviously time is of the essence when it comes to double opt-in meetings. So something just to keep in mind there, that time is something to factor in to your sponsorship timelines. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. So if you are a current or existing sponsor, feel feel free to email Caitlin. Her primary email is sponsorsuccess@SaaStr.com. If you're a new sponsor and have not signed on for SaaStr Enterprise yet, you can reach out to Poya or Brian at SaaStrinc.com or myself or Caitlin. I'm just Amelia at SaaStr Inc. if you ever have a question for me, and they will get you on your way. So thanks everyone who attended. Hope this was informative about SaaStr Enterprise. And yeah, email us if you have any questions.